Hi, good evening everyone. So today is the day 26 of Gear Up Mains Answer Writing. In this week, we will complete the social justice and the society questions that was asked in the GS1 and the GS2 in the various years of the UPSC previous year questions. The main agenda of these classes, how to break the question into the multiple parts, how you can understand the main demand of the question, exactly what the question required in the answer. Many of the students are just writing the answer without understanding the main core demand of the question. हम वो लिखते हैं जो हमें आ रहा है, but we are skipping that points where that is demanded by the questions. So please focus on the main demand of the question so you can address the clear cut demand within the 150 and the 250 words respectively. Okay, those who are new here, in this program we are discussing the previous year questions from Monday to Friday daily at 6 p.m. In morning we are providing you the question in the Telegram group. The name of the Telegram group is the same, Gear Up Mains Answer Writing 2023. You can join the group and you can write the answer. And you can submit to the answer Edukemy website. We are also evaluating your answer at free of cost. As the understanding of the question is important, similarly, the evaluation of the answer is also important. In evaluation, you will find out where you are lacking up. कहाँ पे आपको कमी है answers लिखने में. You will find out in the evaluation. So I will suggest please watch these classes after writing the answer. It will give you more benefit. Okay, so let's see what is the today's question. Today's question is the Right of Person with Disability Act 2016 remains only a legal document, without intense sensitization of government, functionary and citizen regarding disability. Comment. Means the question is saying the Right to Disability Act of 2016, it just act like the others. It is not properly implemented by the government. And we need to be addressed about the sensitization of the government about that and also sensitization of the citizens about that. So in the body part, you need to be write out the two portion. One is about the act. About the act. In the second part, you need to be write about the sensitization of government, and citizens toward Disability Act. So this is required in the answer, and at the end we will suggest how we can improve it, the implementation of the Right to Disability Act, which was formed in the 2016. So this is the main core demand of the question. So first we break the question into multiple parts, then we brainstorm. So what is the name of the Telegram group? The Telegram group is with the same name, Gear Up for the Mains 2023. The name is the same, Gear Up for the Mains 2023. You can join the Telegram group. You can also join the second group, Join Edukemy, with the names Join Edukemy. You can join with this group also, where you also find the question on the daily basis. So before starting any of the question, you must break the question into the multiple parts. So it becomes very easy to you understand exactly what the question is demanding. If you just start writing without thinking, without breaking the question into the multiple parts, you will end up writing the unnecessary words, unnecessary points which even not required by the questions. So here we divide the question in the three parts. One is the introduction part, then the body part and conclusion. All three parts are important and everybody know these parts are demanded by the question. But main idea, how to break the body into the multiple parts. The first part, the question is demanding about the Disability Act of 2016. Second part, the question is demanding about the sensitization. The line is written here, sensitization of the government functionary and citizen. Sensitization of government and citizen. And in the last, we will suggest some of the way forward, how we can improve the act. Way forward, what can be done for improvement of the Right to Disability Act. So this is the main core demand of the question. In introduction, we will write about this act. In introduction, simply we will write about Right to Disability Act was starting implementation in the 2016, and this act is all about, which is mainly focusing on the issue related to the person with disability. According to the, you can also write about the data, how many percent of the population are the disabled people in the country. According to the census of 2011, there are the approximately 2% of the population of the country. 2% of the population of the country is under disability. So this can be a good introduction. You can just write about the act. The act was start implementation in 2016, and according to the census of 2011, there are 2% of the population of the country which is facing the disability. So you can start your question in this way. And one important thing, the question should be reflected in the introduction itself. The main keywords of the question should be reflected in the introduction. So the examiner can understand, yes, you are addressing the main demand of the question. Okay, so now come to the body part. As we divided the body part in the three, we will do one by one. So let's start with the first part. What is the provision in this act? What are the major provision in this act? The number one, the act gives the concept of disability. This act defined disability clearly. Earlier than this act, there was not a clear definition of the disability. Which person is disabled, which are not. Type of disability. This act increased the total number of disability from 7 to 21. Means this act increased the number of disability. Initially, there was only the 7 type of the disability are identified by the government of India. Now here 21 disability are identified. So they increase the type of disability from 7 to 21. Nowadays even the Alzheimer is also identified as a type of disability. Then increase in the reservation of the disabled people. The government increased the reservation in the case of the job from 3% to 4%. Government increased the reservation in the government job from 3% to 4%, and in the case of the admission in the higher education institution, they increased the reservation from 4% to the 5%. So you need to know the main provision of the act. If you are not, आपको नहीं पता, if you are not able to write the main provision of the act, means you are missing the first part of the question completely. So you need to be write the main provision. What is the main provision of the act? Right to Person with Disability Act 2016, and you need to be also write about the data which was changed under this act. Free education. The act is also telling us about the government will give the free education to the children up to the 6 years of the age. So they will provide the free education as well. Inclusive education. Inclusive education specifically for the disabled people. It designed differently. The curriculum, the books are also designed. So they are a part of the inclusive education of the government of India. Enhance accessibility. How? the government can enhance the accessibility for this disabled person even in the some of the premises, in the hospitals, in the educational institution, in the some of the other places, and then even at the marketplaces. So there is also the policy for enhancing the accessibility for the disabled person. And the act also designed the regulatory bodies at the central level and the regulatory bodies for the states level as well. And the funding mechanism, the government designed a special mechanism for the funding for the disabled institution, disabled person, schemes for the disabled people. So there is a specific funding mechanism under this act, the Right to Person with Disability Act 2016. So this is the main demand of the question. This is the main demand, the Right to Person with Disability Act 2016, that you need to be addressed in the first part of the question. The funding mechanism is based on the state as well as the center. Now let's move to the second part of the question. What exactly the second part is demanding? We need to be focused on the language of the question. The language is focusing on the sensitization of the government, functionary and citizens. The sensitization, the question was saying the sensitization of the government, functionary and citizens related to the act. So we need to be addressed both the government, functionary and citizen differently under these headings. If you are not addressing any one of them, means you are missing out the one or the another part of the question. Okay, so now let's focus on the government functionary. Government functionary means how the government is implementing this act and what is the status of the implementation under this act. So first heading we take up here, the notified states. Till now, 58% of the states not notified this act. Even many of the states are not notified this act. 58% of the states. This is a grave condition. The formation of the act and its implementation, both are the different thing. Even the 58% of the states are not notified this act till now, even after the formation of the 6 years. Then the lack of the state commissioner. The act said that there should be a specific commissioner for the Disability Act. 38% of the seats are vacant for the state commissioner in India. So this is the condition of the implementation. That's why the word sensitization is used in the question. The word sensitization meaning the government is not focusing on the implementation. It is just they designed one more act as the others for the disabled person. So here there is a grave need for the better implementation of the act. Lack of the special courts. Even in the act it was said that every state will form the special court for a disabled person. The same condition, the 57% of the states is not having the special courts for disabled people. So this is again the question mark, a big question mark on the implementation of the act by the government, even it's the state government or the central governments. Now our Prime Minister gave a word, Divyangjan. Divyangjan for these disabled person, and they passed even the act in 2016, but there is a lack of implementation under this act. Lack of special public prosecutor. The government also said under the act there is a provision, a special public prosecutor will be provided to the disabled person with the legal aids. You will be surprised, the 87% of the states is not having the state public prosecutor under this act. So this is the data is clearly showing how the government is implementing this act. So there is a need of the intense sensitization. केवल बनाने से, केवल दिव्यांगजन बोलने से एक्ट तो इंप्लीमेंट नहीं होगा ना. So there is a need for the proper implementation of the act. So these are the sides of the government functionary where there is an intense sensitization is required toward a disabled person. Now let's move toward the citizen part. How we are doing? हम क्या help कर रहे हैं as a citizen perspective. Accessible India. There was a campaign run by the government of India with the help of the citizens, with the help of the NGO. The Accessible India campaign means under this campaign, the disabled person can access India without any of the disability, without any of the problem related to it. They can go either of the states, even traveling, even for tourism. But only the single state in the India which implemented this is the Rajasthan, which implemented it effectively. The Accessible India campaign is effectively implemented by the Rajasthan. And some of the other states are not implementing this act. Then the next is the accessible service and the business premises. Government also focused on the accessibility under this act, but there is no specific design, there is no specific policy how there can be accessible service. The disability market, the products required by a disabled person, even it's a wheelchair, even it's a specs, and some of the other products which are required a disabled person, have a market of 4,500 crores in India. It's a huge number. The 4,500 crores market with related to the disabled people. So we need to be focused on the accessibility and services. Some of the products which are required by the disabled person should be easily available to them. And next is the negative attitudes of citizen, negative attitude of us, so-called citizens toward the disabled person. Even the citizens are not sensitized toward the disabled people. They are not ready to help them. If you see at the local places, if you see at the market, if you see in the metro, even the educated people are not offering seats to disabled person. This is the kind of the sensitivity the citizens have. So there should be a intense sensitization toward the citizen also and the government functionary also. For any of the scheme, implementation of any of the government scheme, citizens play a crucial role. If the citizens are not supporting the government in implementation of the scheme cannot be successful. So citizens play a huge role in implementing any of the government scheme. Now let's come to the third part of the question, where we need to suggest some way. What are the measures we can do to improve the implementation of the act? We see about what are the points under the act, what are the provisions given under the act. We also discussed about the government sensitization toward the act, even also about the citizen sensitization required. Now, how we can improve? What are the measures can be taken under the act so the implementation of the act can be improved? Emulate global practices. We need to copy the global practices which are undergoing in some of the developed country related to the citizens, related to the disabled person. Equalization of opportunity to disabled people. Both should be treated equally in some of the conditions. Achieving the Accessible Indian campaign, where only the Rajasthan performed well and the other states are not performing well under the Accessible India campaign. Community participation, citizen participation for supporting the citizens of the Disability Act is also required. Encouraging the equality between the people. This is a part of sensitization by the citizen. If we divide, this comes under the political part and this is comes under the society parts. So these things are required for a proper implementation of this Disability Act. Okay, now we left with the conclusion part. How we will conclude this answer? In the conclusion, you can write about the disabled person have the same rights as of the normal citizen of the country. They also have the right to access all the products related to them, all the services available to them. We cannot do those practices which are not in favor of the disabled person. So you can even end up with some of the codes related to the disabled person. So we should implement the policy, we should implement this act with the proper sensitization by the government and the citizen also, so the disabled person will not suffer. So you can conclude the answer in this way. Okay, so this is the main demand of the question. I hope you will like this discussion. Please try to write the answer and upload on the portal, so we will evaluate your answer. These classes are specifically to focus on how to write a good answer. If you are understanding the demand of the question, your 30-35% work is over. You will not write anything unnecessary in your answer sheet. It will save your time, your presentation will increase, your coherence in the answer will increase. How to link the different kind of the points. Before writing any of the answer, give 2 minutes for brainstorming, how you will write the points in the sequence, which point should become first, which should come later. So give a 2 minutes for the brainstorming before writing the answer. So you can learn better writing practice, how to write a good proper answer for the UPSC CSE. So we will meet tomorrow again at 6 o'clock with the new question. I hope you people will write and submit your answer to the Edukemy website in the master course program. You will find a program named as a master course. So you can enroll with the 0 rupee fee and submit your answers to this master course program so we can evaluate. Okay, so we will meet tomorrow again at 6 p.m. with the new question of society and the social justice.